now I want to welcome up on stage Mr. Robert Franke,
Hi there.
the quite newly appointed Vice President of ZDF Enterprises Drama. And I'm actually going to leave the floor to you for a quick kind of browse through what you're actually doing. And you are the only one I trust with that.
I hope I won't screw it up.
And I'll join you for a discussion later. So please start.
Okay, perfect. So I guess I just push the button and I hope something happens. Yeah, here we go. First of all, I'd like to start with an apology because there have been so many great people here on stage before me and so much entertaining presentations, and now there's the German dude with the PowerPoint presentation. I'm not very entertaining. I'm not very good at this kind of stuff, so cut me some slack. I try to give you a brief introduction about what I'm actually doing at ZDF Enterprises, and there's even more bad news. I just started at the new job, so I guess there's much more I don't know about my position than I know. So let's do it anyway. So who are we? Oh yeah, okay, perfect. I didn't know that there's a screen actually. Here we go. So here are like some basic contents which I will quickly browse through. There's some basic data I start with. ZDF Enterprises is quite an enabled player in the market. We are founded in 1992 and we belong 100% to ZDF, which is the famous German broadcaster. So we act as their commercial daughter company, taking care of a couple of very important things for them. And we have three very professional and super established managing directors. There's Alexander Corridas. I assume that many of you know him. Then there's Stefan Adrian and Fred Bookson, who share the leadership of the company. So we do a couple of things. So first of all, there is the management of the ZDF programming, which means we are taking care of distribution of programming which comes from ZDF. So we bring it to the international market. So we're a traditional sales outfit. But beside that, we're also in charge of development, co-productions, co-financing of programs because we're an independent daughter company. We take care of the exploitation of our own rights, which we create, and obviously also of the exploitation of third-party rights. And we do new business development because the world doesn't stand still, and we have to constantly look for new ways how to exploit content and new markets, obviously. So stuff like video on demand, pay TV, all these sorts of things are things we're doing. And then there is stuff like corporate investments. So we invest in production companies and companies where we believe they could add value to our overall operations. And we coach those subsidiaries, and we try to identify synergies between the companies and to create greater value among all the companies within our value chain. So within the company, we are structured within 4 main departments. There is ZDF Drama, which I belong to. Then we have Entertainment, Factual, and Junior, and I will explain later what that means. And what do we do? It's quite simple, actually. So they're third parties, and it's basically the one-on-one of what most of the sales company are doing. Their rights, we buy those rights, or we get involved somehow. We take those rights, we bring them to other third parties, and we generate revenues with them, which then go back to our partners so that they can create even more. So basically, we try to enable producers to produce more, to bring more content to the audience. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. So here are some boring facts about us. Sorry for showing you numbers from 2014. The problem is we are still figuring out our last year, so I couldn't bring them with me. So last year, we had sales revenues of 76.2 million euros, which is quite massive, and we invested a whooping 34.3 million in content. So this is the overall investment which we are doing in the market, which is quite decent. And then here's some promised facts about our operational units. as I said, I'm representing drama. What do we do? Drama series, obviously. That's quite surprising. Here are some things we did. There is this, I don't know if you heard about it, Blochin, this really nitty-gritty crime series, which we are very proud of. It's a new take on German content. It's a horizontal storyline and something we are very proud of. Then obviously we invest a lot in Scandinavia. We have stuff like Blue Eyes, which we have been involved with. Then from our entertainment division, there are a lot of really successful shows coming from our mother channel. We take the format rights, we bring them to other territories. And then we have late night entertainment, for example, Neo Magazine Royale, which is super popular in Germany. And there is our factual department, which is also quite interesting because we do invest a lot in factual entertainment as well. Stuff like, obviously, we are a German company, Second World War is a must, but also recreational stuff like Secrets of the Bible. I think goes well very, very long. And then our lovely colleagues from the junior department, they are actually doing a really great job putting together very high-profile content for the youngsters out there. We have really entertaining stuff like Captain Flynn and the Pirate Dinosaurs. I highly recommend it. But also Mako Mermaids, which are basically top seller worldwide. So this gives you an idea of what we're doing. And I want to leave here because I guess the rest is not so relevant at this point. And maybe Andrea, you want to join me?
Yes, I do.
I hope that was okay.
And we get the.
Should I?
So is this?
No, it's not the last slide.
Okay,
So
I
you
think
can yeah.
No, we want to get back to the one so nobody forgets who you are. Let's go back. There.
Okay.
And then, of course, as you see on the slide, we really want to thank Media Exchange, Maja Vukovic and Katrina Wood, the CEO, for their help in bringing Robert here. So, herzlich willkommen.
Danke.
So, let me just get some. I've been trying to understand this. So, if ZDF produces something, you are the one that is always selling it?
No, not necessarily.
And if you co-produce something, it doesn't have to be for ZDF?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. Just wanted to kind of clear this out. Okay, so actually ZDF, they are like unloyal and sell their content through someone else as well?
No, obviously not. I mean, we get most of the content coming from ZDF, but we are independent company,
From the
and we have to be compliant to the market. So there, as you can imagine, us coming from Germany, there are tons of regulations, and we are faithful to them, which means that sometimes we lose projects to other players on the market. And that's the reality we live in, but we try to compete and try to make a good job and try to get as much content from ZDF as we possibly can.
So you only started late fall, and you said yourself there's a lot of things you don't know about your own job. And
right. Yeah.
When we Skyped last week, you said that you don't try to pretend that you don't know everything when you're there, even though you're the boss. And you talked about something you called, like, it's like a writer's room, but it's a sales agent room. Can you tell me about this thing?
Oh no, it's not a writer's room. We don't have writers.
No,
I mean,
exactly,
like,
but it's kind of like a writer's room that you get sales agents.
Yeah,
together.
we have a powwow. I would call it that way, maybe. So everybody's sitting together, and when we discuss projects coming in, we try to pick the brains of everyone in our team. Because I'm a firm believer in swarm intelligence. There is so much more other people know than me, and I like to facilitate the brains of my colleagues and try to find out what's the best possible program for us. How can we sell it? How can we make it big? How can we bring it to an audience? Because that's our main purpose. We are a sales outfit primarily. We are involved in co-productions and all these sorts of things. But at the end of the day, it's about your content, which you create, which we want to sell as good as we can. And obviously, we want to invest in the best content out there in order to reach the broadest audience. Yeah,
we're going to talk a lot about content, but I want to start still with asking. So you just started, and I guess you're gonna make some changes. You're the boss, and yesterday you talked about when you worked at the VRD service Viewster, and you had a team of 30 people from 14 different countries and 50-50 men and women, like a very diverse workplace. How has this affected how you're gonna do some changes at your new?
I think I already have a extremely cool team. So there isn't much I need to change there. It's more or less like boring operation stuff. Again, the German heart in me needs to structure things and needs to find new ways to be more efficient. I guess it's in our DNA somehow. And I guess that's it, what I'm doing there right now at the moment, because the people are great. And I mean, there's one thing I learned working with so many different people from different countries is that don't try to pretend that you know everything. Try to work as a team. And I guess that's the spirit I try to bring to my department.
Okay, let's talk content. So, how do you choose productions, and in what stage do you enter into them?
It can be anything. It can be very early stage, sometimes just an idea pitched by producer or even a talented writer. But we also come on board when a product is finished and just needs distribution. So it's a wide variety of different things we are looking at.
So, what personally catches your eye? Like, what's your taste like?
Oh, my
Of
taste.
course, you have to sell everything you have, but if we don't consider that, we just
Personally, I'm a whore of Hollywood. I mean, like I grew up with all the stuff from the States, but as I grew older, I realized that most of it is actually pretty crappy. And now I would say I don't try to limit myself by looking at one particular genre because there is so much exciting stuff. And what really catches me is actually good stories about people. It's not about the plot. I mean, and we're going back to what Tatjana lectured us earlier. It's about interpersonal relationships. It's about how we all struggle, and so far the genre doesn't really matter for me, as long as the people are real, believable, and there is like a conflict which grabs me. So can be anything.
But maybe you can name some series that you're really angry that
Just-
you're
ju-
not handling,
Just angry. There's so much I can't even like.
that you would have wanted to be a part of.
You know what? I think if I look at it from a producer side, I mean, I can't even start naming them. So I think, is there anything? I don't know. To be
Okay, let's
honest.
talk about the things you actually do.
Yeah,
So,
I guess that's better.
the things you actually have, the series. So,
But
which,
actually, Deutschland in 83 would be something. Yeah.
yeah, that is a perfect
That is,
politician
I just told them
answer.
earlier that
Yeah,
I
okay.
binged the stuff completely illegal because I buy iTunes voucher on the internet to have the US iTunes on my iPad in Germany. And the first thing I did, I bought the whole season's pass and
Okay.
binged it. And I was like, what the fuck? This is great.
Okay, great. We got an answer.
Yeah.
So, which territories do you develop in or go into?
I mean, like we're a European company, so I would say our focus is Europe, that's for sure. But the market we are operating in nowadays is an international one. So I think everyone has to become more open and think about how can we finance content, and that leads ultimately to the conclusion that you have to think internationally. So I don't want to say I just look at these markets because good ideas can come from everywhere, and I want to have an open mind about it.
But you have a lot of Nordic series on your slate. I mean, you showed Blue Eyes, but you also have Tellus from Finland, you have Bron, you have Arne Dahl, you have Thicker Than Water.
Yeah. So
So tell us about ZDF Enterprises' relation to the Nordics.
I would say it's a very strong one. Actually, we indeed invest a lot of effort and obviously funds in Nordic drama. It is because there is a lot of great stuff coming from the Nordics, and there is this perception within our company that we are the ones who brought it to an international market, and I would say there's a lot of truth to that, because we invest so much in Nordic content, and we distribute it to all these
And you've
places
been doing this for a while.
for quite some time. I mean,
Yeah.
like I would say, I mean, like for me as someone totally new to the company, I would say with an outsider's point of view, they kicked off the Nordic noir hype on an international level, and because they brought it to an international market, and that's what we're proud of, and we're really looking forward to continue that. So that's why I'm actually here, to meet all our Scandi partners and say hello, and yeah.
Perfect. So what's your future plans? Do you want to expand even more in the Nordics, or?
Unfortunately, with the new, I would say not hype, but with the focus also on international level on the Scandi markets from other players, competition is now more fierce. So we try to keep what we have, and we try to deepen our relationships with our partners here. That's for sure. At the same time, we try to find new content from other territories which we can distribute, and so it's about bringing partners together at the end of the day. So it's more about co-production than ever, especially because at the end of the day we have to finance it somehow, and we live in a world where the markets are fragmenting every day, and so that means it gets harder to get content funded, and so our mindset is an international one.
So you tell us a little bit about the development process? Maybe even you could take one specific project, or just generally, like when you get it, and how much do you fund? How much do you want to say about the stuff and give notes?
Sure. I mean, right now, let's say it's an early stage project. So someone comes with an idea, maybe an up and coming production company, some talented writing stuff, and we say, okay, that could be something for us. We will be the ones who enable them to work, actually. So we put money in the development process. In return, we get distribution rights for it.
Okay, so that's how it works. You
Yeah,
put
I
the
mean,
money
it's like
in,
we're not an altruistic like
I understand.
operation. We
But
there's something. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to create value for everyone.
yeah, but you go in as a distributor more than a co-producer.
I would say it can be both. So it always depends who's coming to us, because sometimes production company comes, then it's a different discussion we're having with them than if a writer comes. But it can also be in form of a co-production as well. And we usually, when it comes to co-productions, we usually become a part owner of the IP, and then we are the ones who are looking for the right partners to put the project together. So again, it really depends on who we're talking to and what kind of project it is, where it is in the development stage. Because in our opinion, we want to be in a good way opportunistic, so that we can get the projects we also need to fill our distribution pipe, and so we want to have an open mind, and we want to enable business. And if we say, okay, we only work under these circumstances, we might have to let good content go, and we don't want to do that.
So when we talked earlier, you said that you want to make ZDF Enterprises future-proof.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
What do you mean with that?
Note for myself: don't talk to you before the next venue.
And
no,
you were
yes, of
very
course.
jet lagged, but I was
Yes.
sick at home, so
Yeah, I
we were
think-
kind of equal.
I mean, for me, spending the last couple of years with a VOD company, there's one thing which I learned, and that's that our market is changing drastically. So the way how people consume content is changing, and I mean, everybody knows that. But what does it mean for us on the content side? There is pressure on the budgets, because we have to earn the budgets back. And there is piracy. The millennials, they predominantly watch online. All these sorts of problem the free TV channels have, or not just the free TV, but every TV channel has, every linear channel has. We have to deal with that, and I think it has an impact on how content is being created in the future. Because if you look at how a teenager nowadays consumes content, that's drastically different than how I grew up, sitting in front of a TV, watching Schwarzwaldklinik. So. Um, and what does it mean? I mean, the business model changes, and that means that
In what way?
content has to become more international. So we have to find the right topics to get the young audiences and to glue them in front whatever device they consume content on. And I think this is what we have to do. We have to find the right narratives to get these audiences and get them away also from the gaming consoles, because that's competition to us. You know, all these sorts of things. VR is taking off, and we have to think how do we approach these people and how do we make them watch our content, because there is just so much time which we can spend in our leisure time, and there is so much competition among the different opportunities we have. It's not just TV, it's gaming, it's going out there, it's going to the cinemas, it's spending time with your parents, whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean,
of
like,
course.
how do you spend it?
So what's the situation like in Germany, considering the VOD market? How big is it? I mean, how many people have Netflix, for example?
I mean, did you have to ask Netflix that?
They're not very open about it.
They're notoriously not open about disclosing anything, as you know. But they're really popular nowadays. But it's not just Netflix; it's also Amazon with Amazon Prime. They're becoming more and more an important part of the TV industry there. And then there are all the smaller partners, all the small players out there. So it's
And do you cooperate with them
everyone
in what way?
in every possible way.
You don't discriminate.
No. We again, we are positive, opportunistic in a sense that we try to make business and we try to get projects off the ground. So we talk to everyone and we try to find out what they're looking for, and obviously we try to produce or co-produce or find the right projects for them.
So let's talk a little bit about German drama, since it is a German focus after all. What we've seen today, Deutschland 83 and NSU German History X, they're historical, even though it's quite near in the history. And I know you have Kudam 56 on your slate, and so apparently, like, historical drama is a trend, at least according to what I've seen in these snippets. But what other trends are there in German drama for those that aren't familiar with it?
I could just pick up where Jörg and Anna left. I mean, it's an interesting industry because the way how TV is funding these projects, there is a long way to go in order to be like the US. But then again, there's the questions: do we want to be like US drama? And I think they're really good and innovative approaches coming out of Germany. Stuff like Blochin, which we distribute, is a good example for that. It's a very different breed of content compared to, for example, Tatort, which is like I would say the most established crime brand in Germany. So you can see that
and that's 90-minute movies.
That's
on
90
Sunday,
minutes.
right?
It's not interconnected, one-off. So I would say that the general trends on in the TV industry, you can feel them in Germany. So there is a new beginning. Also, the TV channels they become more experimental. I mean, RTL is with Deutschland 83 is a good example, but not just them. Also, ZDF is doing a lot of really innovative stuff. Kudam 56 is a good example. We are distributing that. It's period, but it's something which has an international appeal. The way the stories are laid out are really they're high quality and they can travel. So it's content which
So Kudam 56. How is it to sell that around the world?
it's. I mean, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's there's a lot of demand for it, and we see that we hit a nerve. That's certainly something which has a market, and we see that all those high quality German TV series, piece by piece, they create a new market environment for us because.
So
people
you feel
don't.
there's a change
I f-
coming in the
Absolutely.
international attitude?
Absolutely, and I think the quality of German product is increasing. I mean, there always was quality. We always had like this very high production value, like all the Sokos which ZDF shows, for example. This is great entertainment. The only thing is, can they travel? And now we see that actually there is more content which has an international appeal, and I think that's the main difference. And then storytelling-wise, there are more horizontal storylines. You can find them in a lot of different products, and that's the biggest trend.
So are there any German shows that you think belong to this kind of quality rise in German drama that hasn't been mentioned so far that you would maybe like to point out so that we can
Oh, there's
check it
so
out?
many. I think
Some personal favorites maybe?
my personal favor. Actually, the Browns, which you mentioned, I think that is something really innovative, but that's short. You know, you can't compare it to like a 60-minute full-hour drama. I really like Blochin because that's kind of a hard-boiled crime thing. It's my personal favorite in our catalog, and yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff in the pipes. I would say I can't talk about it,
Yeah.
but there's. I think most of the stuff is being covered by us.
So now we have the brand Nordic Noir, and we've been talking about it so many years you almost fall asleep when you hear it, even though it's so many good things that are produced within that. So what would be like the German branding?
I hope that we don't get that kind of label, because I believe that there is so much more great content which is being produced also in the Nordics, that I think putting a label on it just doesn't do the whole industry justice. And the same thing goes for Germany. I hope that we will be able to stand for generally good, entertaining products, regardless of the
But
genre.
that's good. That's also alliteration. Generally good German
Yeah.
drama.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a literary guy now. Yeah. No, I mean, like it's about the quality of the stories you tell, and not so much about the genre, because the genre for me is just a vessel of a good story.
Yeah, of course.
so
But so, is there something that you think is missing from German drama that you'd like to see coming?
yeah, I mean,
What would that
more
be?
genre actually, like different kind of stuff, not just like crime, not just romance. I think there is so much more also outside the period thing, which can be told. Like think about sci-fi, fantasy. Action, there are all these sorts of things. It would be great to see more coming from Germany in that direction. You know.
So, since we're just talking about like trends and what's going to happen, what do you think will happen in the next years for you, for the industry?
I think.
Because everyone's kind of like, we don't know, and we tomorrow after the seminar we have this Nostradamus
Oh boy.
seminar and report that Johanna Koljonen is making, where she's asking people in the industry what will it be like in 3 to 5 years, and nobody really knows because it's changing so much. But from an inside point of view, what?
Right. If
what
I,
do
I
you
mean,
think?
if I would know that in 5 years from now, I would drive a golden Bentley and wear just fur. But
I'm really picturing that in my head now.
that would be actually no. But honestly, I think in terms of storytelling, I think the quality of the stories which will enter the market, it will increase, because I totally agree with what Tatjana said earlier. Like TV series are just the right medium to tell long-running stories. And in terms of business, the most important change in the market is driven by technology, and it's the internet, and that is changing and structuring the whole industry in a very drastic way, because we see that TV channels, they become more like video-on-demand platforms, and video-on-demand platforms become more like TV channels. They have to commission their own content to stick out in the market, and we will see that the next 5 years, everything will become more complicated, actually, also on the sales side of things, because you can see that already, that it's getting harder and harder to generate the same kind of revenues you used to generate in the past with just a handful of deals. Now you have to close at least twice the number to hit the numbers, and this is driven by technology, because the market becomes like an international one. There are no borders anymore.
But do you think this is exciting or scary?
It is. It is super exciting because it gives us a lot of opportunity. So there are more players in the market, and also players who are more willing to risk new forms of narration, and that will put pressure on more established players to re-innovate. And I think that will lead to a generally more interesting content coming to the markets. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope. So I actually thought that if someone wants to ask a question, we could take the first question from the audience during the whole day. If someone has one, you just raise your hand. Welcome to Sweden.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, like I see my PowerPoint presentation worked. Everybody is paralyzed.
Well, I think it's actually. Is there one over there? Yeah. I'll repeat it in the mic. Okay, I'll just repeat the question. So the question was from a competing distributor about MGs, and that's of course the money you put into a product to get the right to sell it. And how do you see? Do you lose a lot of money through that? And how do you?
I mean,
see it
obviously,
evolving?
we are not like a Wild West company. We are German, so what we do is we do proper research on the projects we're taking, and then we have a lot of discussions around will we hit the numbers, what do we expect. So we do our homework, and we're pretty good and efficient at it. The numbers which I presented earlier shows that, and MGs are part of our business because we have to secure the rights. So we will continue to invest in content because at the end of the day, it's about enabling everyone to produce more content, and so we understand that. But obviously, we try to find the right price for the right product.
But how do you see the evolution of MGs? I mean, because you said it's harder to get the revenue in the end nowadays.
The evolution, I mean, the evolution is determined by the market itself, and we will see how that goes. So far, we are willing to invest in the right kind of product, and evolution doesn't really matter as far as we are concerned, because at the end of the day, it's about, is that the right thing for us, and what does it cost us? And then at the end of the day, it's just like doing our homework and deciding whether or not we can recoup that kind of money. So, and that's
okay, so everyone
everybody
can
has
be calm in the audience. You will still be giving out some to
sure.
good content.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
like we will pay the right kind of money for the right kind of product. Let's put it that way.
Perfect politician answer.
Yeah, I should join the diplomatic corps maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'd rather see you driving in a fur in a golden Bentley. Actually.
Oh, that would be so lovely, actually.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming here.
Thank you for
Robert.
having me.